Hop in this Joe ape. You, as y'all can clearly see, made some upgrades, little budget increase. I thought this green screen would be a smart little investment, make the viewing experience better in ways that it may not have been with, like, you know, the bed in the background. I thought it was a little bit invasive, like that's where I lay my head type. Say, why not get a green screen? A little bit more professional. It opens up way more possibilities. I could just be like, oh, what the f? Type shit. I couldn't do that with a bed in the background. But that's besides the point. When this video over, y'all let me know how y'all like the green screen edition. I think it's gonna be dope as hell. All the edits I'm gonna throw up and shit like that. Yeah, I think it's gonna be hard. Today I wanted to talk about consciousness and awareness, and more specifically how they differentiate. I wanted to focus on how pivotal awareness and more specifically self-awareness is when creating your destiny. You're gonna have to know yourself in order to know what you want out of life. So firstly, being conscious of something and being aware of something, they're like two sides of the same coin essentially, but there's nuances to both, especially awareness. So how I can explain it: consciousness, you're conscious whether you are in control of it or not. You can't control that. You wake up every day. So as long as you're awake and alive and you're able to take in information from your surroundings, you're able to perceive things. That's what consciousness is. And awareness, yes, they're used interchangeably as well. In a way, what makes it different to be aware, you acknowledge the presence of something or the existence of something. So to get a better picture, consciousness or being conscious is something you can't control, but being aware, that's something you can control, and you can polish that skill of being aware. And to what, how aware, it gets deep with how aware you can get. Analogy I like to think is like, say you're in a dark room. That dark room, that space is consciousness. That stuff is gonna be there whether you're there or not. When you walk into that dark room, say you got a flashlight, that flashlight and whatever you shine the light on, that is gonna be awareness. That flashlight is gonna be your attention. Whatever you focus on lights up. There's different types of awareness. How I like to differentiate them is you got physical awareness, which is like situational awareness, basically, which is how well you take in information and make a judgment based on that information. Situational awareness, that's very important when maneuvering, especially the day and age we in right now is very important. But what I find even more important is self-awareness. And there's different types of self-awareness. You got internal self-awareness and you got external self-awareness. Internal self-awareness is basically how well you know yourself, like your emotions, your feelings, what triggers you, what makes you happy, what you like, what you don't like, all of that. That's what makes up internal self-awareness. And then you got external self-awareness, which is basically how you view how other people view you. When in social gatherings, you're basically conscious of how you move to give other people a certain expression of you. You're conscious of the way how people see you. I'm gonna focus more on the introspective self-awareness, about how well you know yourself and how vital that is in creating the destiny you want, creating whatever your dream life is. The basis for how vital self-awareness is in molding the life you want is simple, because how do you know what you want out of this life if you don't even know yourself? So you have to figure out who you are at heart, who your genuine self is. You have to go through life experiences to figure out who you actually are, instead of what society tells you to be through programming, media, social media, music, celebrities, these idols, because they just want you to want to be like these false idols that people look up to. So you won't end up being a fulfilled person, because if you're doing things and moving through life through someone else's view of how they want you to move through life, you're not going to be fulfilled, because that's not what you want at heart. So you have to go through life, you have to find out who you are. And then to go a little bit deeper into how deep self-awareness goes, you need a sense of meta self-awareness. You have an awareness of how you're thinking. You are aware of your own thoughts. When you start to be aware of your own thoughts and what you're thinking and your feelings and why you're feeling that way, you're able to break out of that sense of autopilotness. Most people go through day to day just reacting. Something happens, the first thing that comes to mind, boom, that's their reaction to it. What we need to do is you gotta think first and then react, because when you think, you're not gonna express that first thought come to your head, and 9 times out of 10 that first intrusive thought is not gonna be a beneficial response to the situation. When you're able to just think, you can open up a wild amount of different outcomes you want to put yourself in. Let me give you an example. Say you're in a grocery store, you actually run into somebody with their cart, they spaz on you. An average person, for something so minute as accidentally hitting someone with your cart and then them spazzing on you, of course the first thought would be, what type of shit this person got going? So you want to reciprocate that energy. But when you just think and then you actually think about, where can this lead? Like, what situation could this put me in if I respond the way that I first want to respond? You're gonna find yourself in a nigga moment, which is coined by the Boondocks, but it's so true. They're basically moments where quote unquote niggas, they just lose their sense. They just let whatever comes to their head, let that go off first, to not be emasculated or want to be looked at like a punk. When just taking that second to just think about what you're gonna say, it unlocks a whole new way of going through life. Also, with meta self-awareness, being aware of your own thoughts and feelings, you're able to choose what mask you want to wear for that moment, that situation. Like it or not, the way society has brought us up is to not let people really know what is really you. So you're constantly wearing a mask, and that's whether you like it or not. You don't act the same way as you do with your friends, than with your family, or with your parents, or a teacher, or a co-worker, a little kid, a old head. There's gonna be different ways that you present yourself to different types of people. That's essentially the mask. When you're able to be self-aware, you can basically be aware whenever you're wearing these masks, and you can choose how much of the mask you want to wear. If you want the whole mask to cover your whole actual true self, or you just want that small portion of the mask with who you actually are. Because at heart, those masks, those are who we actually are. Those masks make up us. It's just a part, it's just a piece that it's magnified into being a whole person or persona for that situation or that moment. And like I said before, the easier or the more you know yourself, the easier it is for you to create what you want in the real world. Like the law states, as above, so below, as within, so without. Whatever your beliefs inside, whatever you have a conviction about, is gonna transpire in the real world, whether you're conscious of it or not. It doesn't seem that way. It don't seem like what you believe in here is out there, but that's only your conscious mind. If you look it up, it says that only 5% of your mind that you are aware of, the thoughts, the memories, all of that, only 5% is conscious. So that means 95% of your life experience in past life and memory that you have either forgotten, suppressed, repressed, those things are still there, and they're going to be manifested in your real life. 95%. So that means you have to always try to bring everything to the light. And what I mean by that is, like, everything you go to, you have to sit with that feeling so it won't be repressed, good or bad. So whenever you have a traumatic memory and you just want to just start to cringe and forget about it, instead sit with it, because the more you push that away, the more it's going to be pushed back towards you. You need to just let it sit there and let it go away. Sit in my bed real quick. And that brings me into the next thing I want to talk about, was practicing shadow work. When I first heard this, I thought it was some witchcraft voodoo shit. I was like, the fuck is shadow work? But yes, practice your shadow work. And essentially that means what I just talked about. It means to sit with those repressed feelings, those repressed memories, traumatic experiences, whether they be those traumatic experiences, and sit with them and learn from it. Don't just take the bad from it and try to hide it, because that's not going to solve anything. You have to take what it was for what it is as a whole. Take the good with the bad. So shadow work isn't necessarily just bad things that you repress. It's actually good things as well. Say as a kid you was a class clown, but you would get reprimanded for it. That big ass word. You would get in trouble for being a class clown. Your mind loves to make shortcuts, so it's gonna boom, I was being funny, I got in trouble for being funny, I don't want to get in trouble, let me be not funny anymore. So that's how your mind basically processes. So then you begin to grow up with a disdain or resentment for people who are able to make people laugh in like a setting where it makes them seem confident, and then you have a feeling of resentment but you don't know why, which stems back from you getting in trouble for being funny. The more self-aware you are, the more you live life with intention. You're more aware of everything you do during the day. There isn't gonna be moments where you're just living on autopilot. You know what you want, when you want it, why you want it, how you want it. So all you got to do is do it. That leads to creating your own future in a way, and cultivating your own environment that you can thrive in. Also, when being more self-aware is going to result in you being aware of the different masks or the different sides of the whole you. One side, you got the ego. The ego I'm talking about in this case is the self-image of yourself. When you begin to be more self-aware, you begin to separate your true self from the ego, or your self-image of how you see yourself. Damn, I said self a lot. And when you separate the actual self from the subjective self-image that you have, you are erasing the limited beliefs you have of yourself, which then enables you to be whoever, whatever you want to be. To break it down, say there was a high school football star, like a local high school star, nothing too crazy where he got like scholarships, nothing like that, but he just known, resulting from him being recognized as the star football player. He's gonna have a self-image of himself. Some characteristics of that ego that he created of himself may be conceitedness, arrogance, just the idea of I'm him, I'm really like that. Say after high school there's opportunity to become a plumber. I'm just using that because it juxtaposes the high school star football versus a plumber, one which is glorified, you see it on TV, movies, stuff like that, and then a plumber, you fixing toilets. Your brain, because like shortcut, it connects things to other things. That high school player passes up on an opportunity because he has an ego. I'm way too good to be a plumber, like really a plumber. In that example, you can see how the ego or the self-image limits that person from being a plumber. What if him being that plumber got him to his next phase in life where he continues to fulfill his purpose? What if that plumber job brought him fulfillment? He would not know that due to his ego limiting who he can be. And I'm not saying that the ego is necessarily bad, because like I always say, there's good and bad with everything. It just limits who you can become. It just stagnates you. It just puts you in a box of only this. And 9 times out of 10, the ego is molded due to social norms and how you're supposed to act versus who you want to be at heart. So when you take away that ego or that limiting belief of what you can be anything that you want, and you can create anything that you want in this lifetime. Now that I gave y'all like basically how important self-awareness is, I could say a lot more about self-awareness, but I don't want this video to be too long. And if y'all want, let me know, I'll make another one in the future. But now I want to let y'all know how to become more self-aware. What I believe is a very important thing to do in becoming more self-aware: ask yourself quality questions, because those quality questions are going to lead you to quality answers. So you need to ask yourself real questions like, how does this make me feel? Why does it make me feel like this? When did I begin to feel like this? If I felt a different way towards this, how would my life be instead? You have to ask real serious questions, deep questions, to find out who you are, who you actually are. Also, by envisioning who you want your ideal self to be. When you envision who you want your best version of yourself to be, everything about him, what he does, how he acts, how he dresses, his day-to-day life, what's going on in his life, when you have that idea, you now know this is the goal to try to get to. Now I need to live my life like that to get to that goal. So whether you like it or not, you're gonna be more self-aware. You're gonna know, damn, this is not what my future self will be doing. Being more self-aware, being more aware of the actions that you're doing, and every day you're gonna take intentional action to become that ideal self. Also, being real with yourself. What I mean by that is expectations wise. You have to expect what's gonna actually happen, and you can do that by also setting underwhelming expectations. Lastly, practicing mindfulness. And basically what mindfulness is, what that bitch say, it's nothing here, so y'all can read that type shit. Practice mindfulness type shit. You practice mindfulness through activities like meditation, mindfulness meditation. Another thing, focus on your breathing. Whether in meditation or not, just focusing on your breathing. That's how you become more self-aware as well. And also journaling. This is something I don't do. I want to do it. I'm already knowing I'm gonna get into it, but journaling is one of the best things you can do to be more self-aware, because basically you're writing down how you're feeling at a certain moment, so you're more aware of how you were feeling in that moment at time. Also, dream journaling, writing down your dreams, trying to discern what your dream, decode what it actually means. It's telling you something, you just don't know what yet. You have to decode it to get that answer. So yeah, that's really it. Stop living on autopilot. You can't be the best version of yourself if you don't even know what you're doing for real. You're not even cognizant or aware of how you're going throughout life. You're just doing things because that's what you're used to, that's what's comfortable for you. Step out your comfort zone, just try new things, be aware of the things that you do. Ask yourself, should I be doing this? Is this what's best for me? Is this gonna lead me to my goals? Just ask yourself questions every day, every situation, every time you find yourself stuck. Ask yourself questions and you're gonna find something. Hope y'all with the new presentation. Hope you with the new camera as well. Had to get off that Logitech. That been go crazy, but we elevating, we evolving, next level type. I hope y'all take this video, take the wisdom, use it in your life, spread the information, share the video, like the video, subscribe. We trying to go up for real. I'm trying to go up with y'all. Let's go. Let me know what y'all think. Do all that good stuff. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. I love y'all. Y'all be safe. Peace. Learning how to get right, take the pain with the strife. I'm trying to elevate while y'all keep mixing lean with the Sprite. Y'all get high while I'm trying to make it to new heights.